Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fandom United podcast. My name is Gio. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope all of you are having a great start to that weekend, that long awaited weekend. Let me tell you guys, it's been a great week. It's been just an absolutely great week for me. I just had the peak of my podcasting journey so far this past week with an interview, Mr. Sean O'Connell, who's a managing director for Cinema Blend and also the author of the upcoming book, Release the Snyder Cut, where he documents the whole entire movement that managed to make the Snyder Cut a reality. Zack Snyder's Justice League coming this March. And it was a very fun conversation, a lot of DC talk and just stuff that him and I are both into. And I want to play a little preview. If you haven't seen the interview yet, it's up on my YouTube channel. But here's a clip for you.
Who are these people in the movement? Like, why are they doing it? And I was like, oh, really good question. Like, I don't know. And she goes, well, why don't you ask them? Kind of thing. So I started to ask them, and the more I worked my way up the food chain and heard from more and more people who were deeply involved in the movement, I started to hear their personal stories about why they were doing it, and that became the second half of the book. So the book really does cover the construction of the DCU.
I'm very proud of that interview. It was my first one. I was so nervous, but you guys have given me a lot of great feedback. And if you haven't checked it out, again, I invite you to do so. I'd appreciate it. It's on my channel, and let me know your thoughts on it. All right, so let's get into this week's DC news. Okay, so the first topic that I was going to talk about briefly, because I had already covered it on a previous video, is Ray Fisher's Cyborg getting written out of the Flash movie, and his tweet that once again exposes DC Films president Walter Hamada. I already talked about that on a separate video. You guys can check it out on my channel. I believe it's the most recent video, but we have an update. This from Ray Fisher on his Twitter as of this evening, maybe an hour ago. So let's bring in this right here. And it says here, let me maximize that. It says from Ray Fisher, here is a clip from my final conversation with Warner Media's independent investigator on December 11, 2020. Hopefully, it lends itself to the truth of the investigation and to the credibility of my current claims against Walter Hamada, DC Films president, his dangerous behavior, A over E, accountability over entertainment. Now let's listen to this clip and see what this is all about. Here we go.
I know that this is a very time-consuming process, and I know this has not been an easy one by any means. And if ever there were any points in time where I seemed defensive or please.
Ray, you've been a gentleman. You've been a gentleman, and I'll say you've been a man of your word. And that is what we have reported to the company, which is that you told us you would give us names. You gave us names. You told us you would meet with us on a particular day at a particular time. You never tried to reschedule it. You met us. You even gave us information after that. You've been a man of your word. You are someone that we have found extremely credible. And the fact that you risked so much is part of what lends itself to your credibility. But just also, the facts speak for themselves.
Well, there you have it, guys. Let me pause that. There you have it right there. Look, I've been saying this whole entire time, Ray Fisher, and he's getting a lot of shit for it, but he is approaching this very carefully because he knows he's not only jeopardizing his career, but potentially jeopardizing the careers of those who have come forward during this investigation and are willing to speak out about the misconduct during the Justice League reshoots. Remember, if you haven't heard about this, you can check out the video on my channel. But Zack Snyder left, Josh Whedon came in, and with Jeff Johns and producer John Berg, a lot of stuff happened during those reshoots. It was a very difficult reshoot, and I'll have another example later on in this podcast. But look, he's playing it Ray Fisher playing it very carefully. There was this hit piece article that came out back in September, I believe, where he was being difficult, he was being uncooperative, and yet here we are from an independent investigator, someone who has no bias towards Ray Fisher or Warner Media, saying uh, he is credible, he is great, he is somebody who has been very cooperative, and just this whole thing. Okay, Ray Fisher, his cyborg character being written out of the Flash. Immediately, I thought, you know what? This this could be the end. This could be the end because Walter Hamada, DC Films president, just got an extension through 2023 during this investigation, during this whole drama that's been going on. That plus Ray Fisher being written out of the Flash tells me they're siding with Walter Hamada here. Now, why does Walter Hamada? Why does that bother me? It bothers me because, and Ray Fisher tweeted about this. This is what the separate video I did was about. Walter Hamada tried to cover up for Jeff Johns, who was largely responsible for the misconduct that happened on the Justice League reshoots. He was at the very least as much responsible as Josh Whedon. And you know what? The fact that Ray Fisher is pretty much done as Cyborg, as of right now, things could change, but he's he's done. It's just I'm still very emotional about it. I'm pissed off, and these are just the politics of studio, and uh, of studios. They're willing to protect themselves. Walter Hamada tried protecting Jeff Johns, and it's costing Ray Fisher his career. It's very upsetting, and I was somebody who supported Walter Hamada at first because I thought he could handle this properly and swiftly. But I can't back Walter Hamada as DC Films president. As president of a studio that makes movies that I care about and movies that I talk about on a weekly basis, I can't back him. Walter Hamada became DC Films president, and then one of his first actions when somebody comes forward with claims of misconduct is to try and cover up part of those claims. That's not how you do it. That is not a leader. That's not somebody that I would want to work for. And I could totally see how Ray Fisher's point of view on this. And it's just I'm upset. I'm upset. And now that Ray Fisher has been written out of the Flash, let's see what happens. Let's see if any of these guys right here back him. So far, Ben Affleck is confirmed for the Flash. Obviously, Ezra Miller, he's the Flash. Gal Gadot, I believe, will be in the Flash movie, and it hasn't been confirmed yet if Jason Momoa will be a part of it. Jason Momoa being the most outspoken of the group, who has backed Ray Fisher, and I have to imagine he will come out and say something about this because Ray Fisher, he knew he was taking a stand, and that he was risking a lot, and that he may very well lose his opportunity to play the character. But uh, this has to be not sitting well with the other members of the Justice League, and who knows what happens with this Flash movie going forward. If more people will support Ray Fisher and back out of the project, it'll be very interesting. Also, last point: if when Snyder Cut releases in March, just Zack Snyder's Justice League, and if Ray Fisher as Cyborg is great, you're going to hear it from the fandom. You're already hearing it now, but you're going to hear it even more. There's going to be a calling for his character. So remains to be seen. This isn't over yet, but as of right now, it looks like Warner Brothers, Walter Hamada, they're phasing Ray Fisher's cyborg character out of the DCEU, and it's unfortunate, especially if his performance is great. You guys, let me know your thoughts on the matter. What you think about Ray Fisher and how he's handled this whole thing. Walter Hamada, Warner Brothers, the Flash movie. Let me know your comments down below, and we'll see what happens. All right, moving on from that, let's get to sort of a feel-good story here. It's the only other DC news topic that I want to cover on this episode and haven't covered yet. Actor Ben Affleck, excuse me, he opens up about his struggles with alcoholism, overcoming that, and the Justice League reshoots. THR did a amazing article that I highly recommend you guys read. It's Oscar season / award season now, so Ben Affleck is getting recognition for The Way Back, which is an incredible performance from Ben Affleck. And I have a quote here that I want to read about specifically his time doing the Justice League reshoots and his struggles. So it starts in a highlighted. I did Batman because I wanted to do it for my kids, explains Affleck, who has agreed to don the Batsuit one more time in The Flash, which is due out in 2022. I wanted to do something that my son would dig. I mean, my kids didn't see Argo. He continues. Zack Snyder wanted to do a version of Frank Miller Dark Knight graphic novel series, which is a really good version of that. Fortunately, there are a lot of reasons why things go the way they do in the movie business. And just because your face is on the poster doesn't mean that you're dictating all those things. And even if you were, that they would go well, he adds. I wore the suit to my son's birthday party, which was worth every moment of suffering on Justice League. Affleck continues. I started drinking too much around the time of Justice League, and it's a hard thing to confront and I face and deal with. I've been very sober for a while now, and I feel really good, as healthy and good as I ever felt. Well, good for you, Ben Affleck. And even though those paparazzis are pieces of shit, you can see in their photos that he is very happy, and that's partially because he's sober, and I think because Anya De Armas is he's happy in that relationship, and I'm happy for them. And if Ben Affleck's happy and sober, I think we're gonna get even better filmmaking from him, both as an actor and a director. But if you guys haven't really followed the Justice League reshoots and whatnot, and Ben Affleck, he really did Ben Affleck's time during those reshoots. He really did have a hard time during those reshoots. When Zack Snyder left, that definitely changed everything, because it was his movie. And in comes Josh Whedon, director, who has a lot of credit to his credit. He has a lot of credibility with directing Marvel's Avengers and Avengers: Age of Ultron. But according to Ben Affleck and Ray Fisher, and from anonymous sources, a lot of stuff happened during those reshoots that made it a very uncomfortable environment, a very toxic environment. And I want to show you this photo right here, because this photo is going to show you when Zack Snyder was, the director on set of Justice League, to when Josh Whedon and Jeff Johns and company took over. Look at this right here. On the left, Zack Snyder, director. On the right, Josh Whedon, Jeff Johns, etc. You can clearly see a difference. He was not having a good time. He talked about in the article, drinking a lot more, and how he suffered through the Justice League reshoots, and all that stuff. And it's just good for him, good for Ben Affleck. I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy that he's coming back. Well, as of right now, knock on wood, he is coming back to the Flash movie. Remember, part of me wouldn't be surprised that if he walks away after what happened to Ray Fisher. But so far, none of that's happened. And this is just another feel good story, like Ben Affleck. He's had struggles, throughout his career, both personally and professionally. He's had a lot of box office flops and whatnot, and his most recent one, Live by Night, it really affected him. That plus the Justice League reshoots and other stuff, just and sent him down a deep dark hole, and now he's climbed out of it, and it's great to see. And hey, we're getting back like at least one more time, and that's something that none of us really expected. So good for him, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, so let's move on to a segment I call In Other News, which is news that's outside of the world of DC that I happen to be interested in. And it looks like we have some breaking news here. According to Deadline, whoa, Godzilla versus Kong jumps up to March in HBO Max and a theatrical debut. So Godzilla versus Kong will be releasing. Here, let me show you. Godzilla versus Kong is confirmed to release on HBO Max as well as a theatrical debut. Wow. Do we have a date on this? Let me take a look. March 26th. That's right around the corner. Okay, well, there it is. We have our answer. Godzilla versus Kong. We're not going to have to wait till November because they're pushing a lot of movies back. I'm telling you, this pandemic is not going to be over anytime soon, unfortunately. And I'm somebody who's rooting for the movie theaters to come back. But hey, looks like HBO Max coughed up a lot of money. They put up a lot of money, and they got Godzilla versus Kong on their streaming service. Wow. Okay. Well, I live in California, so I don't think movie theaters are going to be open by March 26th. Just being realistic here, okay? In the Sacramento County, they just took us off the stay-at-home orders, so limited restaurants and whatnot. But you never know, and I wouldn't hold my breath. I wouldn't put my money on, these target dates where these things can start opening, especially with our governor. But that's another conversation. So, hey, looks like Godzilla versus Kong will release simultaneously in theaters and HBO Max March 26th. Let me know your thoughts. Do you want to see it in theaters or no chance? I'm fine with HBO Max. If you're fine with HBO Max, let me know your thoughts down below. And let's move on to the next topic. And this one is something that I'm really looking forward to, something that has been a long time coming. And that is Mortal Kombat. We have our first look finally. The movie was supposed to come out today, January 15th, 2021. But today, instead, they're giving us our first look while the movie's been pushed back to, I think, April 21st, if I'm not mistaken, of this year. So EW Entertainment Weekly released the first batch of photos for Mortal Kombat. And let's go through them on here. First one up. And that looks to be Joe Taslim from the Raid as Sub-Zero. And Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion. Now, according to the article, the movie opens with focused on their clan's rivalry. There's a clan rivalry between Sub-Zero's clan and Scorpion's clan, and apparently this takes place well before either of them get their powers. So, as you can see, it's they're not exactly friends. And according to the article, Scorpion is very much a family man. Now I'm forgetting his real name that they gave him. I think it's Hanzo. But anyways, they're gonna dive into Scorpion and Sub-Zero and that rivalry. If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll have to forgive me Okay, like I'm a fan as well. I'm a step above the casual fan, but not exactly a diehard fan here or a expert. But very much looking forward to this. And next up, we got Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Look at Liu Kang, man. Ludi Lin, I gotta admit, looks pretty damn good as Liu Kang. Okay, I was like, is this kid? But hey, as you guys know, in the story, he eventually becomes champion of Mortal Kombat. So they got a young actor. I have to imagine they're going to do several movies, and he'll eventually become the center of the franchise. But as for this movie, I think the center of the story will be this guy right here. And God, what I just had his name, Cole Young. Sorry, Cole Young, played by Louis Tan. Now, there's a lot of secrecy to his character, and the filmmakers have been hinting that they're gonna dive in. Blood is a very heavy presence, not just physically with fighting and fatalities, but also like family and legacy. And if the theories are to be true, it's believed that this guy that Louis Tan is playing, Cole Young, is a descendant of Scorpion. How fucking cool is that? That's awesome. I'm sorry, but I'm just I geek out to some of this stuff, even though I'm not the most knowledgeable. But hey, like, all right, Cole Young, Louis Tan. According to the article, he's a down on his luck MMA fighter who has a mysterious birthmark. That birthmark is actually a symbol of the Mortal Kombat, that you logo that you see, and apparently that leads to a rite of passage to a high stakes tournament. But there you go, Louis Tan as Cole Young. And next up, this is probably my favorite shot right here. This is Joe Taslim as Sub-Zero. First off, look at that mask. How awesome does that look? Look at the detail. And then you see the blue eyes, and he's using his Sub-Zero powers, his ice powers. And it looks like he's creating an ice dagger. Man, what a shot. Impressive. And Joe Taslim, if you guys haven't seen The Raid, Joe Taslim is awesome. Badass. Check it out. So, all right, next up, Jax. That's right, Metal Arms Jax. Jackson Briggs. There he is right there. CGI looks pretty damn good. People online are saying he looks like Steve Harvey. I mean, kind of. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but whatever. The bigger question I have, who's he fighting? Now, in my opinion, looks like Shao Kahn. Look at the armor. Look at what Jax is holding. That looks like a hammer. To the very right of the armor on it, on that person's arm, looks like part of the beginning of a handle. So again, in my knowledge, I love the games. I've played a lot of them. The only character who has like a large like hammer is Shao Kahn. Would they put him in this movie? Let me know your thoughts. I could be far off, way off, but hey, I mean, speculation, right? That's why we do this. Next up, we have Sonya Blade. And looks like not much has changed, just the 1996 film. Taking down Kano. That's Kano right there. And yeah, looks like she got the better of him. And this is another shot of Kano right here. I'm speculating this is when he meets with Shang Tsung. And look at the detail on his, he gets his laser eye. Yeah, looks pretty gnarly. But overall, hey, these images, I'm impressed. Okay. They're not banking on big names. You don't see like a Chris Pratt in here or or Brad Pitt, They're focusing on the fighting choreography, the action, and the story, the mythology of Mortal Kombat. And to me, I'll take that, especially if you're doing an R-rated version. They really want to deliver on the fatalities, which is a fun part of Mortal Kombat. But that franchise, that IP has grown to be a lot more than just that, and I couldn't be more excited. I really wish we would have gotten a trailer. Like I would have liked a trailer on this day since we were supposed to get the movie today, but not bad. I'll take these, but hurry up with that trailer, Warner Brothers. All right, and last bit of news I want to cover here. We're gonna jump sides. This is mostly a DC podcast because I love DC. I mean, look at my background. No surprise. Come on now. But some news did catch my eye, and it's something that I'm very interested in. According to Deadline, Chris Evans is close to returning to the MCU as Steve Rogers. The report says he is close to signing a deal to appear in one movie with the option to appear in a second movie. Okay. I mean, he didn't exactly die in Endgame. He decided to be selfish for once and stayed in the past to be with Peggy Carter. And last we seen him, he's an old man handing off his shield to Sam Wilson. By the way, I'm very much looking forward to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So Steve Rogers will be back in the MCU, but which movie or Disney Plus show? And I gave this some thought. It can't be any of the ones that are already filming or have wrap production, right? I mean, if according to Deadline, he hasn't closed the deal yet. But there is one movie that came to mind, or not one movie, one project that came to mind that I think could be a good possibility for him to appear in. And that's this project right here, Secret Invasion. Sam Jackson will be back as Nick Fury, and Ben Mendelsohn as General Talos. I could see Steve Rogers because of how grounded this is. I mean, Secret Invasion, the Skrulls infiltrate every level of Earth, government, every level of humanity. And to me, this would make the most sense. But it depends on what Steve Rogers we're going to get too. Are we going to get young Steve Rogers? Are we going to get an old Steve Rogers? It remains to be seen. But it's exciting that he'll be back. Chris Evans will be back at least for one more. That's awesome. You guys let me know what movie you think he'll be in or Disney Plus series. That's really exciting. And that'll just about do it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Fandom United podcast. You guys can find me on Twitter at Grey Goose Jedi. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the subscription. It really means a lot to me. I hope to be doing a lot of great things in 2021 with this channel. I'm learning as I go every time. And as you can see, I get really passionate about this stuff and I geek out. And that's really what this channel is all about. And yeah, I appreciate the support, you guys. Anyways, have a great weekend. Enjoy. Be safe. And I'll catch you guys next week with another episode. You take care.